Oh my goodness, welcome back. Are you planning on going to a regional during the Chaos Origins season? Because I am. Which is crazy because I did not think I'd be going to a regional for a while, but I'm taking a risk. I'm taking a gamble. I'm going to a regional. I'll explain why to me this is like kind of a nerve-wracking ordeal. But I just want to share with you the ways that I am getting ready for this regional. So if you are also an anxious and or autistic and or need to just have things planned and like have it mentally scripted and be able to like visualize the entire scene before going somewhere in order to hopefully alleviate a lot of the symptoms that can come from going to big events like this, then hopefully this video is helpful. I'm going to talk about some like Yu-Gi-Oh related things that I'm doing, but also just like life, mental health, like just like how do I get through this without having a panic attack? I'm going to tell you how I'm planning on doing it. We'll see if it works. Okay, so on the Yu-Gi-Oh side of things, I understand regional prep is a thing. I am playing a lot of games of Omega. I kind of took a break from Omega there for a little bit, and now I'm back. And even when I feel like, I don't know if I want to play another game of Omega right now, I kind of play one more once I get that feeling because I want to get a lot of games in. I am going to be taking Elf Note, which is a deck that I'll have been playing for like 2.5 weeks. Probably not. Like, I don't know. I think taking a comfort deck, definitely there would be an advantage to that. Like Fairy Tale, I've been playing for months. I just got kind of tired of playing Fairy Tale and I wanted a new experience and my brain said that we're doing this. So if you do not have, people to play paper Yu-Gi-Oh with a bunch, then Omega, if you've been here for a while, you know that I kind of talk down on simulators. And I do still think there's issues with simulators. I do wish I was getting more in-person games in, but I burn out doing that faster than I do Omega. But yeah, I think getting in a good amount of games before going to a regional, just so that way also, like, Omega allows me to see more decks than what the people I play with in person play. So I think just getting a lot of practice on your deck in order to feel more confident going into the regional is never a bad thing. But at the same time, you don't have to do any like card prep. Like you can just pick up a deck and be like, I'm going to a regional. Like it does not need to have this like level to it, which is where I would say number 2, I am setting realistic goals for myself. My goal for the regional is to attend, not have a panic attack, have fun. Like, I am not having a goal of earning an invite, top 8, top 4, positive record. Like, are those things that would be, like, crazy? Sure. I would be very happy if I had a positive record at the end of this regional. But I think it's important to set a realistic goal for yourself. That way it doesn't feel overwhelming. And at any point, if I'm like, I'm really tired of practicing my deck, because my goal isn't, like, to win, then that's fine, right? Like set a realistic goal for yourself. I think that can make regionals way more enjoyable versus going in and when I say realistic, like if you want to top the regional, cool, but then you have to align, I feel like you have to align what you're doing with your goal while also recognizing that the game of Yu-Gi-Oh has so many variables. So like if your goal is like, I'm going to win the regional, so then you like study every deck. You're playing so much in-person Yu-Gi-Oh, Omega, you're doing all of the things. It still doesn't guarantee the outcome. So that's where I even think like topping the regional, great goal. I would also have like another goal attached to it that you have more agency and control over, because you can't control if you win the dice roll. You can't control if you brick. You can't control if there's a bad judge call. Like there's so many variables when it comes to going into the big events and being like, I'm going to top, I'm going to win. That's great if that's your goal. I do recommend also tacking in a caveat goal of like, I want to find this card I've been looking for. I want to like be able to hang out with my friends and like have a fun day. Like just like something else that's like way more in your control. Okay, so getting into the tism part. So I'm autistic. I also have anxiety. I've said this. If you've been here, if you've been in my Discord, you'll see that I make kind of yokes about it, but it's I'm medicated and it still doesn't always help. So anything social, which is why even like live streaming, playing people even like on Omega, even if there's no like voice or video, just anything that involves other people can cause me to feel a lot of anxiety. Now, add in like a big event, like a regional. This is why I've been pretty averse to even sometimes like locals, which are not like big events, but even sometimes those I'll be like, I don't really want to go to. So the way that I am trying to ensure that my brain is not going to decide to short circuit at the regional, can't guarantee that, but ways I'm trying to be proactive about that. First of all, part of the playing a lot of games is and if you know, there is like a processor lag that happens with autistic, like overstimulation and then added anxiety. I genuinely will lose brain cells. So the more I know about what my deck does, the more I can try to autopilot through stuff, which is not like the best, which is why I'm saying realistic goals, right? Doesn't mean I'm going to win the game, but I at least can like do something. So I'm trying to play enough games that I am not having to, if I get super stressed, I'm not having to be like, wait, what does my card do? Like, for example, I have played a lot of games with Elfno at this point on Omega, and I was sitting in a public place playing the other day, and I just got super overwhelmed, and I shuffled in a card for Welcome Home. I know Welcome Home sends to grave. But when it feels like there's this like curtain that falls over you, like it just feels like there's like literally like I'm not connected to the server anymore. Like the connection, and I feel like there's like a cloud over me, and I get very dysregulated, and also I have high levels of dissociation, and so I dissociate. And when you're dissociated, it's really hard to know what's going on in the moment. So knowing what your cards do can help, because on top of the dissociation, if then I do really dumb plays, or if I'm taking like forever, and if I'm not around people that I feel comfortable with, then that just increases the anxiety. So I really do think it's important to, whether that means taking a deck you're super comfortable with, or like being like, okay, I'm not going to take a deck I'm comfortable with, but I'm going to make sure I practice like a good amount with my deck in order to be able to play through any anxiety dissociation that may occur. I guess that was the third thing. So this would be like the fourth thing. Ask people to describe what going to a regional is like. I've never been to one. Look up videos. Ask people. Get a mental plan of what it's going to look like. So this sounds like this is, I didn't even intend to find out this information. Like I was going to, but at the same time, I was watching the latest like Drama Time video. I don't know if it was like the latest, but it's the one about the kebab, right? And in the Drama Time video, someone got a game loss because they went to go, it was a very short lunch break, and they went to go grab a kebab, and then they came back late, and it was a game loss, and yada yada. And I literally, like, as I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, I need to pack a lunch. I'm packing a lunch. I was already planning on bringing food, but like that's what I'm saying too, of try to get some understanding of like, okay, doors open, what's the start time? Ask people who have, and the thing too, like people in your area, like I'm going to a local, like it's a local regional. People have been to regionals at this place before. Like this place has been doing regionals for a while. They know that I'm like, okay, so it says it starts at 10, and they're like, but it's not going to start like directly on time. I would say 10:30. And then I've been asking questions like, okay, how many rounds do we think it's going to be? And you can go on to, that's another thing too, like the Konami website has information about regionals. I highly recommend like reading through it. So you can see how many rounds it's going to be. I made sure that it's not going to be a top 8 cut. So I have a somewhat of an idea of what it's going to end. Trying to figure out, like, I know that there's places around that I could go for lunch. I definitely am making a mental plan of giving myself breaks. Like if a round ends early, walking outside, I maybe eating lunch in my hot car because it's gonna be so hot, and this place does not have the best air conditioning. So that's like the other, like just knowing those things. If you've never been to the place the regional is at, and you have a way of going, I recommend going. I personally would not go to a region. My first regional would not be at a place I've never been to because there's too many variables with that. So I've been to this store before. I know what the aircon's like. I know what the seating's like. I know what the acoustics are like. I know a lot of the people, which is going to alleviate a lot of the anxiety with that part. I know the owner. I know the person who's going to be running it. I'm probably going to know who all the judges are. Like, I recommend trying to go and like get the vibe. I know the parking situation. So looking up what a regional day looks like, watching videos like this. That's why I'm making this, is to hopefully try to like add to the like, I'm going to a regional and I'm anxious. I feel like Reddit is my autistic friend for stuff like this. Like, I don't really use Reddit for, I think, like the entertainment purposes that a lot of people do. I use Reddit to be like, is it okay to wear my headphones over my hat, or is that weird? Like, I use it for like my autistic questions. So like reading stories of people going to regionals, and just like having an idea of what the day is going to be and then planning accordingly. On the terms of planning accordingly, I like how I started this video being like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now I'm like, I shouldn't have. This isn't like a numbered list. This is just like advice. On the topic of being prepared. Snacks. Eat food, because especially if you also got the anxieties, and add in the tism, you're not going to feel hungry. If the stress becomes too stressful, you're not going to feel hungry, and then you're going to feel like you're dying, and you're going to be like, why do I feel like I'm dying? It's because you didn't eat, babe. It's because you didn't eat. You need to eat. So make yourself eat something in the morning. Pack the snacks. I want to turn this into like a cute little, like, I want to go like snack shopping for the regional. I'm going to pack some snacks. It does not have to be, if you want it to be healthy, be healthy. But honestly, like my version of trying to, like, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, sour candy is a must. Sour candy helps snap you back into your senses if you are having a moment. Okay. So I recommend sour candy, but also just like feel good. Like, I love me a nerd gummy cluster. I'm taking nerd gummy clusters. Animal crackers. I love me some animal crackers. Some chippies. I do love me a good beef stick for some protein. Maybe some protein, little like shakes. I don't know, it might be hot in there. Make sure you plan accordingly and make sure you eat. I do not know how long this lunch break is going to be. I do feel like I could message the owner and or try to get in contact with the person who's going to be running it and being like, hey, what are you planning for the lunch break? But my plan can't go wrong with like 2 Uncrustables. I'm going to have food. I'm going to be snacking, and I will have water, despite me hating drinking water, because I personally feel like drinking water is, it's the big P, right? Big P corporation. They just want to be peeing all the time. I don't like doing that, but whatever. I'm going to drink water because I know that when I don't drink water, I feel like I'm having a panic attack, and it's not a panic attack. It's my tism being like, we don't know how else to tell you that you're dehydrated. So we're just going to make all the alarms go off. Take food, take water. A couple other tips personal to me. Like I said, I know the aircon situation. So I am planning on dressing in light clothing, making sure that I'm not going to be like overheat. I'm going to make sure to bring a hair clip or a hair tie, because the hair on the back of my neck, if I'm sweaty, is going to make me want to rip all my skin off. So I want to make sure I do that. I'm also debating I probably should just take them anyway. There's these like cooling rags that basically, like, when you get them wet and then you like put them on you, it like cools you down. And I could just go to the bathroom, wet it, like making sure that I am comfortable to not overheat. I am also planning on taking my noise canceling headphones. I'm planning on taking my over ears and not my in ears, because I feel like with in-ears, people often don't notice you're wearing them, and then you get into a lot of awkward situations where they're like, and you're like, what? And then like, so they have the noise cancellation. I can turn the noise cancellation on. I can turn it off, because I'm expecting there to be a good amount of people there. Like, this isn't going to be like a huge regional, like hundreds of people, but I'm guessing 50 plus. If you're in the area, you should come too. It's happening in New Mexico. Maybe don't. Here I am, like, already worried about how many people are going to be there and that it's going to overstimulate me, and then I'm like advertising it. You know what? Stay home. Actually, don't. It'd be fun. I don't know. Do what you want to do. Anyway, so I'm going to bring my noise canceling headphones in order to... the thing with the noise canceling headphones for me personally is I often don't want to wear them, because I'm like, I'll be fine. fine. I'll be fine. I've learned my lesson. I'm gonna get overstimulated. It's gonna get too loud. It's gonna be too much. So I'm taking my noise canceling headphones. I'm gonna actually wear them. I am planning on taking some fidgets in order to have something to honestly during the games. On that note, I'm not filming the games. I think I could. I haven't even looked into it because I made the decision when I decided I was going to this regional that I cannot also deal with the anxiety of being perceived via the camera and having to I want to blend in. I don't want any extra attention. I don't want to be the person that it's like, if you're matched up against Reina, please go to table 13 where she has her whole setup rigged. Like I am planning on doing like a cute little vlog style. I got a mic. I want to like interview people. I am planning on making content about the regional, but when I'm actually playing the games, I don't want to be having to worry about any of that. So just like making plans of taking the things you need. Like I said, sour candy is always great. Holding ice to your chest also helps with anxiety. Another anxiety tip is taking a break. This is really hard to do in the summer because when you go and take a break, it also is good to do some like physical activity, get your heart rate up, like squat jumps. I've done some weird stuff in bathrooms. And so, doing a little like exercise, blah, 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 like trying to get out all of it. But if it's super hot and then you get sweaty, I don't know about you, but like if I get sweaty and hot, that's going to create a whole other level of overstimulation. So that's why like holding ice can when it's hot, it's also nice to just be able to hold ice to your chest. But making sure that you are bringing the things that you need in order to feel successful, and also having patience and grace and giving yourself the option to leave. This is something I still need to plan with the people that I'm going with because this regional is local, but it is an hour away. And often we carpool to locals there, and that's fine. But I need to know that if we all carpool, we're one, taking my car, and two, if I need to go home, they can find a ride home. Because if it becomes too much, there is no shame in having to, go home. It's a card game. It's a fun card game. I get it's a regional, but at the end of the day, it's a hobby. It's a competitive hobby day. You don't have to stay. Don't feel like you have to stay. Especially like it literally doesn't even matter your record. You could be doing like amazing and you're like, but I want to stay. But if it's gonna like be at the cost of your mental health and you're gonna end up like crashing out afterwards, like it's literally not worth it. So making sure you have a plan in place. I also think too, making sure you know where there's places that you can take a break, going on walks, getting up and moving, just all of the, if you've also lived the neurodivergent life, you know all the things. Do the things though. Another tip is scripting out things to say to your opponent. And I'm not talking like really good, like insults to like get in their head. I'm talking like I'm having to practice being like, can I read the card? And also trying to figure out how to say it in a tone that isn't like too meek or too the autistic scripting. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. But I also think this is helpful if you're very anxious or just like if you're like, oh yeah, that's the thing I should be doing. In the moment, it can often feel very stressful, and if you're playing against somebody who you don't know what their deck does, I think even like I have a plan of sitting down. I hate handshakes, so I'm gonna try to offer like a fist bump. Like I don't want my palm to be touching other people's palms. I'm not a handshaker. I'm not really a hugger, so I'm gonna be a fist bump. And being like, okay, if you don't, would you mind if while you're playing, do you want me to ask every time I need to read a card, or would you mind if I just like pick it up and read it? See, I'm not sure if I'm sold on like that line, but coming up with lines of like, what do you know you need during games? So the auditory processing, 5 out of 10 on a good day. Add in any type of stress. I don't know what you're saying. You're going to verbally explain your card to me and I'm going to be like, gone. So having like, can I please read the card? Would you mind if I read the card? you can ask like what your opponent's board is doing, like when they make the end board, like being like, okay, like what am I looking at? I've played against some scummy people in my time, so I get a little worried about doing that. Like, if I get matched up against someone who I know is like not a scumbag, I'm gonna be like, and I trust them. They'll tell me like, okay, this is a monster negate, this is an omni negate, this is blah blah blah. But if you don't know the person, or if you know the person, you're like, you know, it's like the type of person who's like, they view losing as their entire honor will be taken from them. So they're going to do anything they possibly can, even if it's super scummy, to keep from losing. Read the cards. Obviously, try to be respectful of time rules, but also read the card. On that note, there's a couple social things that come up with Yu-Gi-Oh! That I think you need to have a plan for before going, especially to a regional. One of the things is time rules and double losses. I am a little weak in my original plan for this. Let me know in the comments how you would handle this. But like, I like the Konami made rules. Time's called double loss. I personally just want to follow that. I've said it in videos how in regionals, I get that is like hurtful for both people. I get that is like can cause records to be, but like my goal is not to top the regional. My goal is to go to a regional, have fun, not have a panic attack, not have an autistic meltdown. Double lossing can help align with those goals because it keeps me from having a weird social interaction where I'm having to be convinced to give you the game, or you give me the game, or we roll for it. I get that my opponent's goal might be to top the regional, and therefore their goal doesn't align with my goal, and me being like, oh, time's called, it's a double loss, and then being like, but I would have gotten it, blah, blah, blah. Like, but also in the therapeutic work I've been doing in my life, other people are other people. I can only take care of me. And I feel like where the time rules now cause so much anxiety and like the social stuff picks up is because I'm worried about taking care of them. I'm worried, are you going to be mad at me for double lossing? Are you going to be upset? What are your emotions feeling? And I turn off my emotions and how I'm feeling like this is super uncomfortable. And I just kind of like following the rules. And Konami said, so my plan is if I go to time, just being like, oh, it's a double loss. And I immediately feel the spike of anxiety in my body, even just talking about it. But then I have to realize that, like, I am not in control of someone else's emotion. If the person I'm playing against gets upset by that, that is not my burden to bear. And I think going into anything in life, trying to navigate and make your choices based off of if it's going to upset somebody else, not always the best. So thinking through all the social things that can possibly happen, I think the time rules have created, for those of us with social anxiety and TISM and just like other things, has created a really sticky, weird little social interaction. But I think on that point too, like if the writing is on the wall, like scoop, try, I'm not planning on going to time. I want to be able to recognize when it's like, oh, you're just full comboing. I know what my hand can do. I'm not getting through that. Let's go to game 2, go game 3. But at the same time, it's just important to know like what certain plans, like what weird social interaction you might have to have. And I feel like the time rules is definitely a weird social interaction that I just like to follow the rules. Sorry. Not sorry. I shouldn't apologize. It's been something for me ever since it became a thing that I have I really worry about how I'm perceived. And as my therapist says, let it go. Not my worry. That people can perceive me however they want to perceive me. I need to do what I feel comfortable with. And personally, I feel comfortable with just following the rules. Do I think the rules are dumb? Sure. But that's not for me to like, Konami can fix that at a later date. I feel like this unintentionally got really long. But also, I'm a verbal processor. And so even like making these videos is helping me figure out like, okay, what do I do? And I hope that if you are someone who has, I don't know, I feel like I can see people who go to these events and partake in hobbies and do all these things with such ease. And I always feel like the weird one because I'm like, oh, they don't need the 10-point plan. They don't have to have everything like it doesn't make them worried about, like, what if I go to time? What if the dice falls? What if what if I have a question for my opponent? What if I have to call a judge and the judge thinks I'm dumb? Like, what if there's not enough time to eat lunch? Like, what if I have to pee, but like I can't because Big P's making me drink all this water and I gotta go pee and it's in the middle of the match? And what if I get blah, 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 blah. Like, some people just go to these things. Can you imagine? Can you imagine just like being like, I want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And then you just like play Yu-Gi-Oh! That'd be crazy. Not me. Plethora of reasons. Plethora of DSM criteria. So I just also wanted to make this video to, if you made it to this point and you're listening to me to also just let you know, like, you're not alone in that. Like, we're for those of us who need a lot of routine and structure and planning, and these things make them very nervous. I decided to go to this regional because I've been playing for a year. It's at a place I feel comfortable at. I have people in my life I feel comfortable with going. I feel like I have a good support system. I feel like I have a good, base. I have planned filming, like, I want to do, like, who's that Pokemon, but with, like, Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like, I want to try to do, like, some cute, fun little stuff. Just to, like, also give me something else to do while I'm there. It's so funny because if you're like, wait, you get anxious about, like, sitting down across from someone and playing the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, but you're willing to go up to people and be like, what's your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card? I don't know what to tell you, man. That's like, I think the content creation stuff helps give this, like, buffer and gives me, like, this confidence thing that just, like, me sitting there being like anything and draw doesn't really happen. But yeah, I mean, I hope this was helpful if you're planning on going to a regional, or if you're just nervous about going to a regional. If you're never planning on going to a regional and you're like, well, but the thought of it is making me feel like, here's some things you can do. You're not alone in feeling any type of way about anything ever. And yeah, I'll report back if you are in the Southwest region, or if you want to come to New Mexico on August 1st. Hit me up. That'd be super fun. I think it'd be really cool to meet anyone who's able to come out for this regional. I get that this isn't, like, New Mexico's not like the top tier destination for Yu-Gi-Oh! Regionals, but it maybe one day it will be, and we can have a big fun event. But yeah, let me know if you're planning on going to a regional, or if you're not, and why. And if you also have any autism, anxiety, regional, first time regional, new player tips, leave them in the comments, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.